Welcome to tonight's episode of the Bowlers Union. Tonight we have a very special guest. We have the Bulwell bomber, Nottinghamshire CCC cult hero, Luke Fletcher. How you doing, Luke?
I'm very well. Good to join both of you, actually. Old veterans of the game, so I'm looking forward to chatting.
Still surviving, mate. We're all still surviving.
Still going, yeah.
Straight into it, Fletch. 5 quick fire questions, mate. Extra 5 mile an hour or extra 5 inches of bounce?
5 mile an hour.
Swing or nip?
Ooh. Swing.
Backhand slowly or knuckleball?
Back of the hand slow ball.
Good bouncer, good Yorker.
Good bouncer.
Nick off or bowled?
Oh, God, I love them both. Bold.
Good answers. I think it's interesting. You're someone who gets the ball to move around a bit. So wanting the extra bit of pace, I think I'm the same as you. Did you say nip or swing? You got swing?
I said swing, yeah. I said swing because my wobble seam's probably been my most dangerous ball in the last probably 3 years or so. Not that I don't use swing as much, but I feel like if I had a really good in-swing as well, that would be the sort of complete package in a way, and a good bouncer. You know, I'm lucky I've got a Yorker that I'm pretty confident with, but if I had an extra 5 mile an hour with a good bouncer and be able to bowl an in-swinger, I'd get more wickets, I reckon.
You get an in-swing, can you?
I can, but it's not great, and it's you know, I don't particularly like bowling it as well. So no, I can. Yeah, I can do it, but it's not consistent enough, and I've definitely not got full control over it.
Fair, but I swear, when I first played against you, it was like a pre-season game for Essex v Notts, and you pretty much just bowled away swing, like spot ball. Yeah, I feel like that's not something you do so much now. You definitely, I feel like you use your wobble a lot more.
Yeah, so I bowled my stock ball, which is like you said, the way swinger, I reckon for 10 years solid, and that was it. That was all I had. So I was lucky that I got bounced on a fuller length, but that's all I did. I held the seam up to bowl for the ball to go away from the right-hander, over the wicket, into the left-handed batter, and that's it. Bowled the same ball with the odd bouncer, probably one a game max. And I reckon I did that for 10 years.
What did you say you bowled to left-handers?
In-swinger.
You ever come round the wicket?
I do now, yeah.
My first Champo game was against you, and I faced one ball off you. You were round the wicket.
What's that?
And then your second ball, you bowled a bit of a wide half volley. I've gone to smoke it inside edge, bowled.
At Trent Bridge?
No, at Edgbaston.
Oh, was it? God, that must be years ago.
Yeah, it was, what, 2010, 9, 10?
You know, I think there was an era where left-handed batters just got so good at lining the ball up from over the wicket as a right-arm bowler. And obviously we had Broad in our side, so I did quite a bit of work with him. Not necessarily work really bowling, but just talking about it, the angles at the crease and how you want to hold the ball. So that was pretty good. And since then, I probably prefer now to go around the wicket to left-handers with the wobble seam. I didn't have the wobble seam back then, so I just swung it. So probably really.
I know he's waiting. He's got a question to ask you. He's been waiting for this for a while. So I wanted to ask you.
All right. We'll go to this then, because I've been digging around today, looking at stats and stuff to talk about you. So do you know what county team you've got the most wickets against?
Worcestershire, is it, or Yorkshire?
Okay. Sorry, I should specify first class.
First class.
Would that change it, or would you go then?
Oh, I probably played most of cricket in Division 1. So maybe Warwickshire, mate. Oh, Warwickshire.
Yeah. It's Warwickshire. So, right, this brings me on to the next point. Do you know which batter you've got out the most in first class games against Warwickshire?
Baron Chopra.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, LBW.
Mate, he feared you so much. He hated you.
I love ball. His pad used to look massive. I thought, I'm going to smash that. I'll lob a few outside off stump, drag him across a bit, and just go straight for it.
Okay, right. This is brilliant. So who's number 2?
No, I mean, he was a great batter. I have full respect for him, but there is them batters that you just seem to have on toast in a way. It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
It is. Well, who's number 2 then behind Chops?
Oh, is it?
Probably should have played for England, I reckon.
Oh, Sam Hain? No, he's played for England, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Not Sam Hain. It's Trout. I think I got Trouton out a few times.
It's not Trouton, but it is a left-hander.
Oh God, should have played for England. Westwood?
No.
Am I talking to is that too old?
No. That you're bang on in terms of era. Should I put you out your misery?
No, you played against him at a different club when he's been at a different club.
Is it you, Barks? Could have played for England there. Sorry.
Right, it is. Right, you've got Barks out. Yeah, you've got Barks out 6 times.
I remember you, Barks, at Trent Bridge. You were smacking us everywhere, right? And we went in at tea, and we were like, "How are we going to get this bloke out? You know how you play. You're quite free, aren't you? You hit the ball cleanly." And we said, "No one's bowled one bumper at him yet."
Mm.
And after that tea break, I think I bowled a bumper at you and then bowled a wide off volley and you nicked it. I was like, wow.
And that is the blueprint for the season coming up.
Sorry, Bart.
No. Was that? Did I score 100 that game?
Yeah, you smacked.
Yeah, I was batting with him, and Courts was playing, wasn't he? Andrew Carter.
Oh,
Big Courts, yeah.
And Righty was going, I can't face him. Can you face him?
Oh, it's minging. It was horrible.
Yeah, he had me a bit yippy because he used to just come from nowhere and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, he was to look at him as well. Oh, coming in with the big levers.
Well, you could smell him running in, and then it would hide the ball, ping it. Yeah. No, he was a pain in the ass, but I did have issues.
Yeah, Baron Chops 7, me 6.
I can't remember them 6 against you, mate. Honestly, I didn't.
That spoils the next part of the podcast because I was going to ask you if you can remember it, but it's all good. It's all good. It was just a bit of fun.
Oh,
just so you know, I've only got you twice, but you don't bat for long. You're normally out, so.
No, that's right. Especially against Warwickshire back in the day. I used to get hit on the head by Boyd Rankin, and then G and Patel get me out. Job done. Horrible. What Chris Wokes? You got Wokes, Barker, Wright, and Rankin. Oh my God. I used to think,
Ricky Clark to give you a bit of crap on the way.
Ricky Clark, yeah, he's got me out with the backhand slow ball in a 4-day game. That was a strong side. You know how different counties go through eras, don't they? So it was Durham when I first started.
Yeah.
And then it was Warwickshire, and then it went to Yorkshire, and now it's Surrey, isn't it? They're just dominating.
Mm.
But that Warwickshire team was strong. You got Patel as your spinner, obviously, and then you had, I think you might have had Ian Blackwell around there as well that time.
Yeah.
And then what a loan signing.
Oh my God.
What about your Notts team then? Because you had an era and where you'd have what, side bottom yourself, Andre Adams. That was a proper unit. What was that like to be part of?
That was when I signed. So to even get in the side and play with them, it was unbelievable. They were all at the top of the game. Andre was obviously the main man, the main strike bowler. But you have Mark Elam, Charlie Schreck back then. He was a serious bowler, swung it both ways. Franksy was around. He was a senior pro all-rounder. So, yeah, it was just bowlers were coming from all angles. Side bottom was class. Brody was around then as well. That was before, or maybe just as he got in the England side, so he was around quite a lot. So it was just amazing. The experience was, for a younger bowler at that time, was top draw. But it used to frustrate me because Andre would just say stuff like, he'd say, Fletch, why don't you just come wide of the crease? And I'm thinking, I can't do what you do. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to bowl my best ball and stay in the team as long as I can.
That's interesting. You just said that. Obviously, that's a certain point in your career where that's all you know and that's all you can do. And you are trying to survive and stay in that team.
Yeah.
And you do get a lot of youngsters now who want to be able to do everything, but they're not ready for it. So question I've got for you is, when did you figure what you did best and how did you identify it?
So I figured it out pretty quickly. Within like a stock ball, people talk about a stock ball. So I naturally hit a good line and length. That was my super strength, as you'd call it, from a young age. But what I didn't have the skills with it. So I didn't have the wobble seam, the in swinger. I didn't really know how to bowl. I didn't understand the game really. I just used to run up and bowl my best ball, which was a ball that pitched around off stump, swung away, bounced a bit from a fuller length, and that was it. That was pretty much it. And I reckon, like I said earlier, for 8 to 10 years, that was all I did. And then over the years, you pick up a few tips and that, and build a bit of confidence with balls that you practice over the winter, and then you go from there. But that was all I did. I tried to be consistent. I tried to control the game with bowling maidens, back up the other bowlers at the other end, which is what my job was. It was basically Fletch, come in, control the game, don't give much away, and just hold it. And I did that, and that was it. It kept me in the team, which I was more than happy with back then.
You mentioned about your kind of simple game plan. I'm convinced that is the way to go to sort of to start your career, isn't it? I think it can quickly go wrong for people if you try too much too early. So who was the most helpful to you then in terms of upskilling?
Mark Elam was brilliant. He was really good. I mean, they all were in different ways. Some of them were. I mean, Andre was brilliant, but he had all the skills back then. But I think him communicating that across to me, I don't think he understood that I didn't have them skills. So he'd get frustrated with like, Fletch, why can't you just do this? I'm like, well, I don't really know what I'm doing. So he just had a different way of communicating it across. But Ely was brilliant. Franksy was brilliant to talk to about bowling. I mean, they all were in their own ways, but Mark Elam stood out for me, definitely. And obviously the bowling coach at the time, which was Mike Hendrick, he was, old school as they come, do the basics well, consistently, and you can't really go wrong, that sort of thing. And he's right. I totally agree with that.
Did you ever have Daffy as one of your bowling coaches?
Did for 1 year. Yeah, for 1 year right at the start, but I wasn't really around the first team then. I think I had most of that summer in the second team and played the old 50 over Friends Provident. You remember that comp?
Yeah.
So I played a few of them with the first team, but never really did too much work with Daffy.
Yeah, he's a hero. We'd like to get him on the podcast, to be fair. He's got like 1,000 wickets and 10,000 runs or something, first class. He's just a bit of a genius, to be honest.
He had some unbelievable skills, so he'd be great too.
So what you got, Keith?
How did you get into the knots setup? What was your route in?
My route in was, so I got in at under 15s, and that time I think that sort of went to under 16s, under 17s, and after that, if you didn't get an academy contract, that was sort of the end of the road. And I was one of them. They sort of said, look, thank you for giving up your time and playing, but unfortunately we've got nothing to offer you, which I was absolutely fine with. So I went off and went to college, then played in the leagues at my club side, which was Papwick and Limby at the time. Worked at a nice restaurant called Hooters. I was a chef. Yeah, I was a chef at Hooters. Yeah, you can hardly call it chef. I was frying chicken wings. It's not that hard, really, but so I worked there. But at that time, I think I was about 18 then. So Notts had said, "Look, we want to have a look at you." I was doing one of the leagues. They said, "Look, come and play a few second team games at Lady Bay, and we'll have a look at you this summer." So did that. Then used to go straight to Hooters after the day's play. Work till 11 o'clock midnight. Go home, do the same thing. So I did that summer really, just to keep a bit of money in my pocket. And that's probably the summer that Notts said, "No, we like the look of you." And then I think I signed a 6-month contract the following March. So, and then it just went rapid. Then I got into the first team quick, and I was away.
Also, I was told this story years ago, and I have no idea if it's true. I was told you were playing, and I think you were a bit sore, and you were told to take an ibuprofen. I heard that you asked, might have been Graham Swan, something like that. How does it work? And you were told, oh, you just tell it where you want to like the pain to release. And you were caught whispering before taking your ibuprofen of where you wanted. So mate.
It's great. It's a great story, and I would admit to that, because I have said some daft stuff through my career, but that's typical Graham Swan. Don't listen to that.
That is genius.
either I forgot or that is no. I don't. No, I wouldn't believe that.
More on a bowling, or more from a bowling point of view. When it comes to red ball and white ball, without giving up everything that you figured out, how do you look to operate between red ball and white ball?
Well, for me, it's a lot of it. The difficulty within the county season, if you play in all three formats, which I certainly like two of them anyway. 50 overs stuff, so I find that really hard work on the body. It's for me, it's the preparation build up to the games, to the competition. Now we get that in the winter, don't we? Through all winter, really. We know we're going into 5-game block of Championship cricket. It's then the time in between that ending and the T20 starting. So I try and get my preparation in and do as much as I can to build my confidence that way, and then go straight into it. And I think it's easier now as an experienced player, but I remember back in the day it was sort of hard. You sort of had to go into games a bit underdone and just hope for the best. But I think now it's a bit different with the experience I've got. But yeah, all in the preparation for me.
So what's a typical, let's say a championship game? What's a typical prep for that like for you in season?
Yeah, so I won't bowl now the day before. Probably 2 days out, I'll have a bowl at some batters for maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, just until I feel I've got a decent rhythm and I'm happy. Sometimes if we're playing away, I'll just go out there and mark my run up out and have a few run throughs, that sort of thing, just to feel comfortable with the surroundings. Have a massage. We have a masseuse come in, so do that the day before. Probably go to the pool as well. Just make sure I'm really fresh the day before. I don't like to do a lot the day before, really, just in case we're bowling all day. And that again, that's changed over the years. I remember when I first started, I was bowling in the morning for half an hour at our batters on game day, and then playing that game. It was mad. It used to tell me just calm down, but I used to love it that much. I thought, right, I'll go and nick off Samit Patel 3 times and then get some confidence up. But no, I think that's changed now, don't you? As you get a bit older and you get a bit slower. So yeah, just not a lot the day before. Probably a bit more 2 days out, and then go from there, really.
Yeah.
There was a point a few years back, T20 stuff, in the first 6, it was quite clear you used to be quite confident in going like 4 or 5 Yorkers in the power play. What was the plan? Like, where did that come from? And do you still look to do that now, or as the game changed and you actually have to look at doing things differently?
I mean, that's probably my best ball, my most consistent ball. Like if the side's under a bit of pressure, I mean, it changes, doesn't it, from overs. I mean, if I'm getting overs 4, 5, and 6, and the side's non-down, then I will go straight to death, really, because most of the times a couple of the batters are in, then they're off and running, aren't they? Yeah. I probably won't go to it overs 1 and 2, and if we've picked up 2 or 3 wickets in the power play and I'm bowling overs 5 or 6, I'll probably stick to a normal length. So it's all dependent on the game situation, really, for me. But I'm confident to go to it straight away. If I have to go for it straight away, I'll go for it.
Has the margin of error in bowling the Yorker changed over your career, do you think, in terms of batters better at playing it now?
Yeah, there's more options. Yeah, I mean, you see the scoop shots and all that, so it's difficult really to control the field, especially in the power play. It's a lot harder now. But I sometimes think bowlers go down that route because they're not confident in nailing it. And a lot of times when people get hit, they'll say they've gone for a Yorker, but they've just mis-executed it, if that makes sense. So they'll think that's a bad plan, but it's not. It's the execution of that plan, if that makes sense. So I think if you go and try and bowl any ball and you get it wrong, it doesn't matter what it is. If it's a slow ball into the pitch and you drag it wide or whatever that is, if you mis-execute it, then to me that's just bad bowling. So I'll back myself. If I'm under pressure, I'll back myself. I might as well even shout to the batter, I'm going to bowl a Yorker here. I might as well even shout it.
Yeah, just on that, like, because you've got presence when you bowl. The way you'll chat to batters, you'd be having a laugh. Batting with James Fuller the other year, you were like getting in his head a bit with how you're going about things. You're more than comfortable doing that. Do you see it working to your advantage quite a bit when you do that?
Oh, massively, yeah, massively. So with some people, yeah. I mean, that again, that's another side of the game. That's the psychology side of the game, isn't it? And also that helps me, you know, because sometimes I get bored playing 4-day cricket. Can get bored, can't it? So I think, you know, I need to find myself up here, get into a conversation. It's not that I'm being rude to anyone. I don't really sledge people. It's just, yeah, I mean, James Fuller can be quite an awkward character, can't he? And you can see that it sort of knocks him off his guard a bit. So any people like that, then I think it's great, really. But yeah,
your chat is overly friendly, or not overly friendly, but in general, it's friendly chat, isn't it? And jokey chat.
It's a game of cricket, at the end of the day. What you know, we're not at war, are we?
No.
No, you're natural at it though. Like I spend most of my day trying to avoid talking to people, and then we play against Notts, and you're like really chatty, you know. And it's, do you find that, Keith? You're quite similar, aren't you?
You know what? We are. Yeah, I'm similar to you. If I like someone, obviously I'll chat to me and you, Fletch. We chat and stuff like that. You have your players, your bowlers you get on with, and even batters you chat to and whatnot. I do remember, right? You'll remember this when we were playing Notts, and we figured out pretty quickly that Sammy always tried to make friends with the opposition bowlers, and we were sorting our run up out, and we were looking at the wicket, but he was making his way over to us, and I think it was like Pop or Clark. He was like, "Oh, Sammy's coming, Sammy's coming." As soon as he comes over, in a not so nice way, time to do one, and yeah, he was like, "All right, lads," trying to make friends, and he got a bit of a spray. And then during the game, I remember I bumped him and he played it pretty bad. He like just kind of paddled at it and like flicked it a little bit. It was unconvincing. And he actually apologized to me for his shot. And I thought it's amazing what you can pick up on people when you play a bit of a game with them.
Yeah. But I mean, that's psychology. I think that's a big part of the game. You learn that as you get older. But it's definitely something I try to use to my advantage in a way, just to try and take people out of their bubble, really. Some people are harder than, like I ever do it to our lads in the nets. And I try it with Hasib Amir, and it's just wasted breath, really. He is just locked in. You can't do anything to get him out of his bubble. But I find really it just keeps me in the game as well. It doesn't affect my skill, if that makes sense. I don't bowl badly when I do it. If anything, I bowl better.
Yeah, fair. Well, if it comes naturally to you, and you know, like you say, it doesn't affect you, then you're laughing, aren't you? I definitely can't do that. The minute I engage, I start thinking I sound like an idiot. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't come out naturally to me, so I end up just like teapotting and making a fool of myself. So I avoid it.
Yeah, you've got that. Yeah, but you've got that rapid bounce, don't you? That comes down, so it's a bit different. I haven't got.
We're in the same boat, Fletch. Me and you. We have to find a different gear.
Fine.
It was making me laugh.
There was I remember this briefly. I think Notts were playing Durham end of the year, and I'm pretty sure the Durham lads may have won the league, and they went out probably going into day 4, and Shiv Chandapal was playing for them. I'm pretty sure he told the lads, like, go out, enjoy yourself. I've got tomorrow covered.
Oh. And
he scored double 100 against you boys.
Oh my! It was horrible. That was one of the worst games. So early in that game, we lost 2 bowlers. So Shrek, I think, and Elam. I think it was anyway back then. And I think Halesy bowled 35 overs of off spin. It was awful. So anyway, we've been bowling all day and a bit the next day, and then we got a wicket and it said incoming batsman Shivnarine Chandapal. I thought, oh my God. And he just got so much time in it, and he was just wedged in. It was just an awful game. But I mean, in the scenario of the game, it's not a bloke you want to see coming to the crease when they're 300 for 4, is it, or whatever it was.
He used to get his wife to feed the bowling machine at the indoor school in Edgbaston, Keith. I'm pretty sure there's stories of it.
Something like that, and he faced minimum 200 balls.
It was his son. I heard it was his son.
Oh, wow.
He faced 200 balls minimum on the bowling machine. No helmet on, just 85. It was 85 mile an hour, 3 swing or something like that. And just, that was his thing he'd do all the time.
Gotta be bored.
Yeah, I find batting training way more tedious than bowling, don't you? I mean, I'm sure, hopefully you do, as we're all bowlers,
Yeah.
but yeah, batting's like niggly.
So obviously, when we played it was Edgbaston T20 game. There was a incident where you got hit on the head off bowling from Sam Hain. Can you tell us a bit about the aftermath of that? Because it was a bad hit. Obviously, you had to go straight off. What were the next few days, weeks like for you?
Honestly, it was surreal. It was incredible. I quite enjoyed it in a weird way. It was just mental. The whole life just changed in that split second.
Got a bit of time off.
Oh, it was crazy. The England doctors were around my ass and all sorts. I think the worst thing about that situation was it was live on Sky. If it wasn't on TV, I don't think it would have had as much coverage and blown up as much as it did, if that makes sense. But anyway, yeah, I went off to Queen Elizabeth Hospital first. Sat down with the doctor there. He straight away said, "You're not playing again this season. You're not driving for 6 months." I had a bleed on the brain, so stayed there that night. Got my phone back. Obviously, you have to hand your phones in, don't you, for TV games. Phone back about midnight. Flicked it on. It was just going absolutely berserk. So people from all over the world. It was incredible, really. So then, obviously, I had that news, and I knew I wasn't going to play. Went home the next day, and then I just had to do loads of head scans, all the concussion testing. Did loads and loads of that. I had to keep going back to the hospital at Queen Elizabeth to see the professor, the head specialist there. I actually got in like the top 4% of some of people in the country. You know them concussion tests we do. I was unbelievable. I'd like smash them all out. It was incredible. So when we did it, obviously you do it before days. So before you get hit, you do these concussion tests as like a base mark score of where you'd be. And I think we did ours on the plane to Barbados, and I've been out in Manchester the night before, so I got like 70% of something. And then when they retested me when I got hit on the head, I got like 94%. So they was like, "This bloke's a genius." It's like he's absolutely fine. He's better off. But I was out in Manchester, so I was a bit ropey on the plane.
I don't know if you realise now, but from knowing him and playing against him, Haney runs at you early on in the over. First ball, normally. If you're listening, Haney, sort your game out. You need to change it.
Well, I had a plan to Haney. I had a plan, and I pretty much landed it where I wanted to. Really, it was like sort of middle and leg, top of the stumps, if not a bit higher. Because he hits it on the leg side. It was quite a big leg side. It was like over number 3 in the power play, and he wasn't like off and running really. So I thought I'll just get in the over. He gets 1. I bowl at the other lad. Blah blah blah. Get into the game, and then he just obviously backed away and cracked it back at me. So
he was a bit of a freak, Sam. I remember at one point he was worried about short ball stuff because he was such a leg-sided player, but full. And was wanting to create a bit of work on his offside game, but then was worried about short ball stuff. And we played West Indies was it Dubai, right?
Oh yeah.
And I forgot who was bowling, but they were pretty sharp, and he just pulled him for 6. And after that, he was like, "All right, yeah, you can play it." And he'd never worked on it really. He was a bit fearful of it, and then he's just a bit of a freak, Haney. To be fair to him,
he's a hell of a player, isn't he? Now, I mean, when he first started, he used to be a bit of an LBW candidate, but he just doesn't miss now, does he? He's hard to bowl at. He's one of the best around, isn't he? He's a nightmare, really, for bowlers.
Yeah, he's been very consistent, hasn't he? To be fair to him, across all formats now. For what? Well, to be honest, 10 years now. When did he make his debut, Haney?
It will be roughly 10 years now, I think.
Yeah. To be fair, he's been consistent, just non-stop.
Did
you play with him in the 100? Am I right? Are you in the same side?
I played for Welsh Fire first year, and then Rockets second year. No, I didn't play last year. I had ankle surgery, so not that one. He was with the Rockets last year, wasn't
he? Yeah. What's the 100 like to play in?
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, first year was at Sapphire Gardens, which was good, and then obviously the Rockets, Trent Bridge, which I obviously know all about. But it's more the crowds, really. Every stadium's full house. Yeah, intensity is a bit higher, but yeah, I enjoyed it. No different.
Do you know the rules?
I didn't at the start. No, I was 5 balls, and I was like, you can stay in the same position. I thought it was great. I was standing there for 10 minutes. Like, this is the best comp's T10. That's oh my word, that's the one.
Have you played T10?
Yeah, I had 2 seasons at Bangla Tigers, which was I've never fielded a ball. I stood behind the bat, and obviously these big West Indian lads that seem to get attracted to these comps, they're just smacking it cow corner. So I was at short third man or 45. Just stood there watching him for half an hour, and then it was job done. It was done. Game over. Brilliant.
Yeah, fair play. You see, you don't strike me as someone who would love the franchise thing. You're obviously a one club man, aren't you? With Notts, and you're a Notts hero. So I wouldn't have thought you'd have loved the franchise circuit.
I mean, I played for Wellington a while ago now. No, I enjoy it. I love playing. I love playing around the competition. If I get the opportunity, I always play. I think it's great. But yeah, I mean, I've always obviously been with Notts. I had a couple of loan spells. I went to Surrey on loan and then Derby on loan for a bit.
What?
Yeah.
Why were you on loan at that point? Was it just to get more overs in, or what?
Yeah, just to get some match overs in. Really, I wasn't in the team. I was out of the team. Jake Ball at the time was flying. Harry Gurney was bowling well. Who else was around then? Broady was in the side. So yeah, it was just one of them things. And I was never one for sort of not playing. I always wanted to keep playing. Really, I'm sort of better for bowling more overs. Me, I need to keep going once I start. So but the opportunity came. Alex Stewart rang me to go to Surrey, and I was like, yeah, I'd love to. And then obviously the same with Pot Welsh at Derby, which was good to get to know Pot. I wish I'd have had a bit more time with him. Top man.
Yeah, you'd have got on really well. I'm sure you do get on really well with him, but I think you'd have really enjoyed him, and he'd have enjoyed you too.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you were on about Hendricks, the coach you had earlier.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he was Pop's bowling coach.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was.
He was Boyd loved Mike Hendrick as well.
It's just all about the basics. Never went too much into the technical side of things. Line yourself up. Use your momentum towards a target, and just be boring. Really, that's pretty much it. That's why you just love that, and I think that's pretty much it. Really, the art to bowling is being consistent in your line of length. That's it, with a bit of skill. I mean, you don't have to have everything. I don't think, anyway. Every sort of action's got their own different attributes, haven't they? Look at me, mine's bounce. Your two's might be something different, but as long as you're consistent in doing the basics well, I think that pretty much works for anyone.
I think
that's sound advice.
Yeah, that's a good message to anyone who's listening. Any young pro, any young club cricketer. It is that simple. Don't let too much information mix up the signals that the basics of bowling. I think that's great to hear that, mate.
Yeah, consistently for a long period of time. You can't go wrong.
What I like, Fletch, listening to you though, is you do know what you're good at, which I still find it staggering the amount of bowlers you see that don't know what makes them good and they just deviate away from it. Do you know what I mean? Maybe too many guys want to swing it away when in reality their action doesn't suit it. They're in the wrong position on the crease. You know what I mean? All these little things, and people work against themselves a lot, as far as I can see.
Yeah, I think. I mean, you've got to accept what you've got. I think, and each action's got its own natural abilities and skills. I think. Obviously, over time you can work on that and add to your game. But yeah, for me, the best thing about bowling is that everyone's different, and you should never coach people to all be the same. We're all trying to bowl with the same idea and plan, but the ball comes down from different lines, different lengths, different angles. It bounces differently off the wicket, and that's the best thing about bowling. If you can have, you want an attack with variety, don't you? But all sticking to the same plan. So eventually I'd like to go down the coaching route. I've done my level 3. I've been doing a bit of work with the academy, and I've never coached it out of someone because I don't believe in it.
Would you say coaching has helped you understand bowling a bit more, or kind of just seeing things a little bit differently?
I'd say I've looked into it a bit more. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. But I still think, in my beliefs, I don't think that's changed. But certainly, I think I've really enjoyed working with the younger bowlers. You know, I think you can help them out and guide them really well. But I'd never coach out their attributes. If that makes sense. I think what you've got is what you've got, and you build on that. Like, I'm never going to get another 10 mile an hour. It's just not going to happen. It just doesn't work like that.
Mm.
So yeah, no. I talk about bowling. I listen to your podcast, every single one. They're great.
No, thanks. Thank you.
Yeah, we love to hear that. To be fair, we genuinely like the idea of kind of creating a community. We'll see if it happens, but it's nice to talk to people like yourself, and we've got a decent following from other bowlers on the circuit as well, which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask you about bowling at left-handers, because clearly you're amazing at it, because you get Barks out for fun. You've been, you and Stuart Broad obviously probably share the same kind of philosophy about bowling at. Can you give us a bit of insight there? Because I personally want to get better at it, and I don't love going around the wicket, but clearly it's the way forward.
Yeah. So the best advice I got. So you imagine, right? You're running tight to the umpire, and you're running out wide to the crease, and then you've got to get back in on line. If that makes sense. So the best advice Brody gave me is you start wide and run in on the line. Does that make sense? You'll understand professional bowlers, but maybe I've not worded that right. So basically, it's just about using your angles, really. So for me, with my action, starting in tight and running out wide, I just couldn't find a consistent line of length. And batters would leave the ball easily, or they'd clip it on the leg side easily. As soon as I took a couple of paces to my right and ran in a bit more straighter towards the batter, I find it a lot more easier. I was more lined up at the crease, so that helped me be more consistent.
I do remember, actually, you used to, when you come round, you used to come like a little bit wider. To myself, not that it made a difference. Obviously, you got your lines right to me when you did it, but I do understand what you're on about. Me, like, when I come around to right-handers, I struggled at first because I would run wide. I'd come past the umpire and almost keep going towards like first slip. And then I'm trying to twist around myself.
Yeah.
You lower at the crease. There's not as much energy in the ball.
Yeah.
And as soon as you come wider, you can get you running straight more towards the stumps, angled in a little bit.
Yeah.
Stay taller, more movement off the wicket, asking more questions.
100%. You've worded it better than me. So basically, you're lined up more toward your target, and you've got all your momentum and energy going in that direction. And when I was running in tight and going in wide, I'm leaking energy everywhere, and I'm trying to bowl sort of off balance and on a different line. So it's all about alignment. That's what Brody said.
So I reckon I've been running in a bit tight then, because I feel a little bit blocked off when I'm around the wicket. Do you know what I mean? I feel like I'm almost too side on.
Yeah.
It just, and I feel like I'm almost 5 mile an hour slower than I am when I'm over the wicket, which that can't be right. So maybe I just need to get a bit of a, like you say, run in a bit more. Run from out to in.
Yeah. It's not running in a bit. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's just your angles. I mean, it'll feel weird at first. You'll feel like it feels strange. But once you get the hang of it, Barks is bang on, really. You got all your energy then behind the ball, which for me at my pace I need. But
I actually think I bowl quicker from around the wicket now than I do over.
Yeah.
I think my body's adjusted. Like, you're right, it does feel a bit alien. Even when you are aligned better from around the wicket, but once your body gets it, I do think you've got a little bit more behind you.
Yeah, I love bowling around the wicket now. I feel like I can beat both edges. I feel like all dismissals are in the game. I sort of worked my way in. I used to bowl a bit wider, sort of a 4.5, 5th stump. Now I can trust myself to sort of fire it in towards middle and off, knowing that the ball will hold up, bowling the wobble seam, if that makes sense.
How long did it take you to learn the wobble seam, by the way?
Took me ages, Barks. Took me ages. Very nearly racked it off because I just couldn't do it. And then I went on a pre-season tour to India with the academy. We were expecting our second child when the first team were going to South Africa, so they sent me to India. and then I got it out there. And I thought, right, I'm onto something here, and that changed my game big time because I sort of went through a period of thinking I've not hit the stumps for a long time here. I was, I was swinging the ball away, I was nicking people off, but I wasn't beating batsmen on the inside edge. So I desperately needed. This is why I said an in swinger earlier. I needed something to beat the inside to make my way swinger even more effective than what it is. And I got the wobble seam, and that's when I started bowling people, getting LBWs, and that changed my game.
How often do you feel like you get the ball nipping with your wobble seam? In terms of, let's say you bowled only wobble seam.
Yeah.
What are you getting it to nip every ball, once every 3 balls, twice? You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
I don't. I bowl a line, right? I bowl a line. I bowl a 4-stump line with wobble seam, and I don't know the answer to that because that's the beauty about it. It's a natural variation. Although I'm trying to get the ball to nip, but I don't know which one's going to nip. I'm just trying to hold a line, and I know that if I hold a 4-stump line, I'm bringing both edges in there. I'm trying to hit the top of off stump or the knee roll, and if the ball doesn't nip back, I'm bringing the slips into play. So it's more about the line with the wobble seam, I find. And I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't have a clue. I'll just be guessing. I'll just be throwing a number in.
Fair play. And any physical cues for you bowl that? Like, do you try and keep your shape a bit more, get a bit taller, or anything like that, or is it just?
So I try and so I hold it quite tight with the seam pointing in towards like an in swinger. Only just slightly though. Only just slightly. So I don't hold it tight. I hold it quite narrow, but then I keep my wrist nice and loose, or try to anyway. That's when I'm bowling it well. I had a chat with the Bass about this as well. Start this year, I wanted to know how old it is, and it was quite similar actually.
Yeah.
But then I've heard stories of bowlers locking their wrist. So I think it's just preference, personal preference, really. How you find what you do.
Well, this is really good for everyone to hear. So I think that this delivery, it gets pitched as something that's really simple and easy to do and quite low skill. But actually, to do it properly, like you say there, you have to figure out exactly what's right for you in terms of position, how it feels, perhaps some kind of technical cue. Otherwise, it's not gonna. I feel like people can leak it a bit, can't they? Almost leak it too straight, and it's not really for that. It's for what you've said, where you hold that 4-stump line and you get that bounce, and then when it nips, it's nipping into off stump. It's not kind of onto the pads and stuff like that. But I don't think enough people really pay attention to it.
Oh, 100%. It's about the line for me. You want to be wobbling it into off stump, potentially middle and off, nothing straighter, depending on the angle you're at the crease, because umpires nowadays will just say it's going down leg side. So you've got to be smart in that way. Different to left-handers around the. Is it different? I feel like I said, I feel like I could trust myself to go more like middle and off stump around the wicket to left-handers.
Do you use not your in swinger? Well, yeah, it is your in swinger to a left-hander. Do you ever use that if you're around the wicket, or do you just use the angle dead straight?
I don't like to use that. No, not really. No, just the angle dead straight. I pretty much every ball bobble seam left-handers around the wicket. I won't really bowl many seam. I might have to at some stage just to keep them honest or just to change it up. But no, generally, when you got the new ball in your hand, I'll go wobble seam straight away anyway. Sometimes swing, but I find when the ball's brand new, it doesn't swing consistently until it's about 8 overs old. When you obviously get the lacquer off it, and then it starts to swing, and by that time the first change bowlers are on. So I've always gone to wobble seam straight away.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear you say that. I think you're right. How good is it when you get a little spell at night that's maybe 6 or 8 overs, and you bowl what you've just said there, and then the following morning you've got that ball when it's the lacquer's off and you can properly get it swinging. You end up bowling 14 overs or something stupid in your first spell with that ball.
I like that. I love that. The longer the spells are, the better for me. I love it. I love bowling long.
No, where are you off to it?
I'm just getting the charger.
Ah, fair play. I thought you were taking us on on a little tour. No, I agree with you there. I think especially as you get older, actually, people sometimes think, oh, you know, we'll try and look after you. I don't know if you get that. And actually, being looked after and bowling short spells is a damn sight harder than it is just to keep ticking over. Stopping and starting is the worst, I think.
Oh, I agree. I 100% agree.
How do you find the Kookaburra balls, mate? We've got them, I think, the first 2 games of the season.
First 2 or 3 games, isn't it? I don't mind them. I've had a go with them the last few weeks at Trent Bridge and indoors, and I can't get. It's not really swing; it's more angle a bit, I suppose. It just doesn't. It's like it tries to swing but then doesn't. So I get the feel that's going to be quite a lot of wobble seam, especially them. You know, if you bowl them with a new ball, because the seam's quite sharp in it at the start.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think? Swing's one of your biggest attributes. So what would you?
Well, yeah, it obviously doesn't shape as much. There is shape though to start with. Interestingly, Abbo was one who told to me that one side normally is bigger than the other, like as in the actual shiny side as such, and that normally does help if you have that facing the way you want it to swing.
Right, let me jot this down. 1 second.
Yeah, it's worth noting down. It's worth noting down. The bigger side,
facing the way you want it to swing.
Face it the way you want it to swing, and for some reason it will swing a little bit more doing it that way than the other way.
That would be because it's heavier, right? If a side's bigger, you'd assume it's a bit heavier on that side. I don't know. This is getting a bit scientific, isn't it?
Oh,
to be honest.
To be fair to him, I tried it and it did seem that way. It did seem as though that was the case. So while it does swing, that's worth.
I mean, all these little things that you all these conversations. That's another thing I think that's gone a bit out of the game is these conversations. That's why I like this podcast, because I don't think people talk to each other enough. I know we obviously play against each other, but
we have the thing is, I think we have an idea of what we do, but we don't ever really go into discussion. Like we're going to have him on at some point. Ollie Hannon-Dolby.
Yeah,
I love the fact he's learned wobble seam. He just starts his game. He goes away swinger to a right-hander. Now you've seen it. You're not seeing it again. But in the head, the batter's like, oh, it's got a way swinger. And he just bombed through the gate. And it'd be good to talk to him about it because I know exactly that's what he does. And I've been playing where I hear batters, he shapes it away. I'm like, don't be fooled here, lads. He will do it once or twice.
He's a good example though in knowing exactly his game, right? Because he's got he's tall, but he bowls from like low, doesn't he? Yeah. So batsman, everything tells you it's going to be like away. Yeah. And when he does bowl a wobble seam, it probably pitches on middle stump, and it just goes donk. And you know what I mean? Because of where he's bowling it from. I did message him about coming on actually, and I said, "Oh, you know, what kind of topics of conversation are you looking for?" And he literally said that straight away. It was like, "Oh, wobble seam." Which I'm like, another guest that's going to want to talk about wobble seam. So yeah, it'll be interesting. But it is good to hear all these ideas that people have.
But you know what? That's fine. Like Ollie, like that's what he does. Like it's fine saying that. He's still hard to play. So
yeah.
So I think the same. If you can beat a batter on the inside edge and the outside edge as quickly as you can, your margin for error then is unbelievable. You can pretty much land the ball. Listen, as long as it's not too wide. Because they don't have a clue if it's going in or away. So even if you hit someone on the pad, it's going miles over the stumps, it's going down leg side. That I'm happy with that because I'm thinking, right, I'll beat him on the inside. Then you swing one away, and the quicker you do that, your margin for error changes. And I speak to our bowlers about that. I say, right, don't worry about it too much. Even if you get clipped or you don't quite get it right, you just need to know that they need to know that you can beat them on both edges. And then you just go straight back to basics. Stock ball, bang. And if your stock ball that day is a wobble seam, that's fine. Or if it's swing and the ball's swinging in the air, that's fine. Go to that. But it just gives you that. I think gives you that bit back in your favour as a fast bowler.
Did you ever play against Dave Masters, Fletch?
Yes, I loved him. I thought he was mint.
Right. Yeah, mint. I used to play with him, and I used to be like the young bowler. And I swear we would bowl the same ball. And batters would leave him, and they'd be like, "Oh, they'd leave cut balls." I'd bowl exactly the same ball, if not a better ball, and they'd cut it for 4 or smash it. And I remember being like, "What the hell is going on here?" Like, and it's because I wasn't making him think. I think that whole point you're saying there, he just creates that bit of doubt. And it's almost like, have you seen that Thierry Henry video or something where he's talking about finishing, about freezing the keeper. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
Right. It's almost like Dave Masters was freezing the batter because they almost look at the ball and see this like horrible grenade coming at them, and they're not in a position to cut it. Whereas at that point, I was just running in, trying to bowl quick and swing it away. And they weren't having to think. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But these people are masters of the trade, aren't they? Darren Stevens. I think just running up and bowling fast is not. But it doesn't bother batters anymore. It just does not. If anything, it's pace on the ball, so they can use that. So you've got to have a bit of nous and a bit of skill about what you're doing. And I don't think that comes straight away. When you're a young fast bowler, like we spoke about earlier, it's very hard to have that straight away. And you get that with time, and playing games and being around people and talking to the senior players and just understanding it a bit more. But yeah, people like Masters and Tim Murty, like you said, all them people. And also you probably don't expect him to bowl a bad ball. Mohammed Abbas, like when's he? I bet he's not bowled a bad ball for Hampshire yet, has he, Mohammed Abbas? When I faced him last year at the start, I could have stood in the forward defensive position before he even ran in. It's just ridiculous.
I spoke to Stoney that game, Ollie Stone, and I said, "Oh, how did you find it facing him?" And he said, "It's weird because he's not quick, but it's like there it is, there it's not. It's gone. It's just he's got ultimate control. He's such a pleasure to play with, and he's so at one." He spoke, obviously played with him as well, and like one thing that Mo said is he never fights the conditions, like the breeze. He'll take it on. So if it's strongly going in, the pushing across, like as though he's going to have to bowl an innie, he'll just go, right, I'm going to bowl innies at this batsman. He never thinks I'm going to try and fight against the breeze and swing it away. He just goes with his surroundings. He's amazing.
I know his kryptonite though, and I've worked it out. Although I'm not in a position to do anything about it. But basically, if he eats too much lamb at lunch, it repeats on him, and he can only bowl like a 4-over spell. So I remember when I first played with him at Leicester, I'd come up the hill, and he'd bowl as long as he wanted down the hill, and then I'd follow him. But he usually bowled like 7 or 8 overs kind of thing. So I knew I could do a 4, rest for a bit, switch. And twice it happened where he overindulged on his lamb at lunch. And then I'd bowl 4, looking to swap, and he'd come off at 4. So I'd end up having to bowl like 11 on the bounce. So having bowled like 4 up the hill, hanging a bit anyway, because I'm a bit older, then come down. And it was all because Lamb just disagreed with him. So that's his only weakness as far as I can tell.
Oh, we'll have Lamb 4 days in a row.
Yeah, do it. The issue is it might affect you as well, but yeah.
I'm used to overeating. I've been doing it for years. I'll be all right.
Brilliant. How are we doing, guys? We're getting on for nearly an hour. I'm keen that we don't. It is a Friday night, Fletch. We know you've probably got better things to do.
Yeah, no, this has been the highlight of my night, lads. Actually, I've enjoyed this. You think I've taken the piss, don't you?
Yeah. No. Oh well.
Hey, I love talking about bowling. It's class.
So should we just quickly then? I mean, we've kind of underplayed it. You've won every single trophy, right? And you've had a really good career now. You've got like 447 first-class poles, like 25. So you've got a brilliant record. You've won everything. But what's been your favorite memory from that so far?
I broke the record at Lords. I got 50 batting at 11 and 50 batting at 1.
Wow.
That's mint.
Not even to do with bowling. I love it. It's just like, yeah.
That's not. I just thought I'd say that. But yeah, I enjoyed that. That was a good few days. That it's quite cool.
Have you got 100, by the way?
No, I've got 2 92s.
I haven't got 100 either.
92 twice. Yeah. Have you not? You've got a few 50s against Notts. Be a pain in the arse bowling at you.
I did my bread against Notts.
You do. You saw one of them batters. You think if I just bowl my best ball here, he's just going to miss it. And then you think, how the hell's he got that ball here?
Because his bat face is square leg. That's why.
No, honestly, you haven't seen me, have you? Probably red ball for a little while. I'm an offside player now. Honestly, I access the ball much better. I'm all through the offside.
So you're not getting out of W then?
No, I still get out LBW. That's still the way.
Pads. He's got massive pads. He still gets out LBW, but
Right.
he did spend one whole session trying to convince me and Varun Chopper at Durham that he could hit through the covers. And balls that weren't there, he was trying to like steer with one arm, like trying to get through, and he kept playing and missing. But I have seen him back recently, like last few years, and he has got better.
I interrupted you there, mate. What Carl? What's your best? What's been your most favorite trophy win?
My favourite year was 2017, and the weird thing about that is I missed off it because I got hit on the head. But that year there was something about that team and the environment, the changing room. It was just brilliant. And after that year, Chris Reed retired, Michael Lunn was done, Brendan Taylor went home, Halesey retired from 4-day cricket, Harry Gurney retired from 4-day cricket. So that was like the end of an era. But it was everyone got on, like socially, we were brilliant, and we just smashing teams. We were beating teams in 2.5, 3 days for the first month. We were in Division 2, so we should have been doing that, but it was just the feeling around the place. It was amazing. We obviously won the 2 white ball trophies, and then I think we got promoted that year from Division 2. So that year sticks out. A lot of people of our sort of area who play for Nottingham would say similar, I think.
Yeah, I remember you. There was a few years I'd not played Notts, and then there was this rumor going around that Notts just in the mornings played super loud music and were really confident and this and the other. And then after a few games, I think you turn your music down, mate. You like
Psychology again. Some people it just pisses off. I mean, is what we do. If it was up to me, I don't like it that loud. I like to chill out and have a coffee and just relax. But it pisses some people off. But yeah, I know it is what it is, isn't it? I suppose.
The beauty of being in a team, isn't it? You have to go with it.
I don't think we're a well-liked county, are we? I know you probably might say it on here, but
you know, I reckon I've played with a few, obviously Warwickshire and Hampshire. But are there any teams that you're aware of that really aren't liked?
I feel like we aren't liked.
I disagree with that.
Would you?
Yeah, I would. I think most people actually, you know what? I think most people say Lancashire, Yorkshire, Surrey.
Lancashire.
I actually, you know what? I like Lancashire quite a lot. I like Surrey quite a lot. I think they're misunderstood. They're just southern and they strut around a bit. But
Mate, Surrey's brilliant. I mean, I can only speak. It was totally different to what I expected it to be. It was mint. I loved it. I had a great month with them, and they were all nice lads, welcoming, down to earth. They've just got this perception, haven't they, from back in the day? I don't think so. No.
I think as well with how they are, they're so confident in winning games that they probably do change. Probably the way they play comes across probably different to how they actually are. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like you should have done a bit more the last few years with your attack and lineup, especially with the ball.
Yeah, we've been there and thereabouts, but it's almost like we're almost there, but not quite. So we need to sort that out.
I could be their DOC. You sign an offie, sign an amazing off spinner, get Keith back over the wicket, get the offie bowling into that. Abbott and Abbas wheeling away as well. You got Dawson bowling. Easy, you know right?
What? The year I think we would have won it was COVID year because we actually signed Nathan Lyon.
Oh God.
Yeah, that's it. There you go.
That was the year we signed him, and then COVID happened. It was like, I actually was like sending him videos of my rough, and he was replying like, "Oh my God, can't wait."
Right. So you had Dawson as well. So you got all bases covered there.
So just got a long tail with Barker at 8. That's all.
Barker, Abbott, Fuller. It's not bad.
I've got 600s, mind you. So you know.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, I know.
I'm jealous.
I watched one live, didn't I? And then we bowled one bumper. That was it. Done.
I think I was pretty knackered at that point, mate.
So
Keith Barker, bump him early. Done.
So I'll edit this after and take out all the little errors that I've made, and I'll clip it all up, and I'll put that up. I'll put bowl short at Barks, And then we'll send that out into the internet and out to the world, and then we'll watch what happens next year. We'll watch Barks bobbing and weaving all summer. That'd be brilliant.
My knees are fucked. I can't duck anymore, so I'm just going to take it in the face.
Just flat. Amazing. We need to get traction with the podcast, though, and let's take Surrey, because I know they like to bowl short at you. We can get the Surrey bowlers as friends of the podcast, get them following us on the socials, and then you can kind of, hopefully you're not going to get a pepper in from them.
You'll be all right. No one's going to bump you in the first 5 games, mate. They'll be pitching up.
We'll see, mate. We'll see. Kookaburra's fucking not swinging that much.
Kookaburra doesn't swing. Yeah.
Oh my God! We bounces early. Get it reversing. Oh.
Yeah. Amazing. Fletch, it's been great having you on, mate.
No,
it's been brilliant. This is we were never planning on going this long, but it's been very entertaining, mate, and loads of fun.
Mate, no worries. Pleasure, lads. Thanks for having me.
Top class. Take it easy. I'll play the music because I know you love it so much. Here we go. See you, everyone. Follow and subscribe.
Bye.
Dude.